welcome. It's me, Simon, and if you've been following Simon on the sofa, you will know that I record conversations, transparent conversations with beautiful people from all walks of life. And today, this is a conversation that has been a long time coming, and it's coming with a specific reason. However, I've had many conversations with this beautiful woman that you are all about to meet, if you don't already know her, through my interactions and my sharings in life. So welcome my beautiful friend, Lucy Ann Holmes. Mwah!
Thank you.
Welcome.
Very nice to be on the sofa.
Yeah, you're on the sofa. I mean, you know, we've sat together on the sofa many times, had many conversations. So it's been actually, it's a great pleasure for me to share a conversation, to share with the world on Simon on the Sofa, right? We're here with a specific conversation. What I'd really like to do is just tell everybody a tiny bit about how we met. Is that okay? Yeah, just give a little sharing to the viewers. So me and Lucy met way back in, I don't know, 1998. Seems like a long time ago. Was it, or maybe earlier than that? No, maybe, I don't know, something like that. Anyway, a long story short, we met.
Maybe earlier.
Yeah, we met coming together to basically perform in a theatre play where we were both based in this sort of amateur theatre. And then over the years, we stuck together, built up a beautiful friendship, and I got the opportunity to live with this beautiful woman for a number of years in Camden town in London. And we'd been on our own exploration, and really what Lucy did for me is she inspired me to write. She was one of the people that really supported me to start putting pen to paper even more, and through actually introducing me to also what is called morning pages by a woman who wrote The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron. And anyway, we just, you know, we did our thing. We've enjoyed life. We enjoyed beauty. We've had a lot of fun and laughter together. And then Lucy decided to write a book, a novel called 50 Ways to Find a Lover. Okay, this was really the first book that really launched Lucy's writing and got her published and got her out into the world as a writer, as an author, as a, you know, writer of novels. And then Lucy, you can jump in here, but like then you went on to write 4 more basically after that one, because that 50 Ways to Find a Lover was really stemmed from your desire to find a real authentic lover, right?
Yeah.
Go on, just say a little tiny bit about that little journey.
Yeah, so where to start? But what I think is really interesting about you and I is that we've actually lived together twice. So we've lived together in Camden, and then we lived together, jump forward 5 years from that, we lived together in Brighton. And both times have been really big periods in my life. Both times I've had blogs, both of which you have featured in. And I feel for me, like, yes, it's really lovely that you said I got you writing, but I feel that you totally supported me and believed in me and my writing. So I think we had a really good creative kind of flow going and support. So I wrote 4 novels. Yeah, and then that, you know, that's what I did. And then, but I started with a blog actually about my disastrous love life. Right. And you were, what were you? Live-in ex-boyfriend, I think you were in the blog.
I was the ex-boyfriend that was training all the time, super positive and into healthy food or something along those lines. And of course, super beautiful, super magnetism, you know, basically the man that every woman wants, right? That's ultimately it.
And in the novel I then wrote, just to make it really confusing, in the novel I then wrote, my character ended up with the Simon character. Yes. I didn't even give him a different name, was it? It was, yeah. So she ended up with Simon. So everybody was saying, like, what are you doing? You're writing this book, but obviously you're completely in love with Simon. And I was like, it was just a really great friendship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And within that, you know, there is a beautiful love, because there's such a love between us in terms of a friend. One of the things I was writing as I'm sharing this what we're about to share with everybody watching is just how some friendships in life really stay the course, and there's no expectation to them, and they just stay together. And I feel that that's something that we've had. And for people watching who love these Simon on the Sofa conversations, you know, sometimes I find rare for those real unconditional friendships to, you know, to always stay the course. And that's something that we've done. And I put on one of the articles that I was writing about us that, you know, we sort of lived very unique, separate lives, but simultaneously very parallel in the way that we've sort of, you know, gone.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely really journeyed.
Yeah.
I think it's lovely. I feel like you're my soul brother. And even though we're not always in contact, I feel like you're one of the kind of dearest people in my life. I really feel that.
Yeah. So go on. So one thing go on.
No, just I wrote another blog. So I jumped forward 5 years from that. I wrote another blog, and you were Buddha in the bedroom next door. So again, you came back into this other thing I was writing that was, you know, with very much with these like really profound things you'd suddenly say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so now I'm writing a book using some of that blog and using some of that period in time. And yeah, and again, you're a character in that. And it's funny because I've shared half of the book with some people to read to get their feedback, and they've both wanted more of your character. They've been really like, oh, I want to hear what he said about that.
Right, perfect. So, okay, so this leads us in, but this leads us in beautifully, because again, for the inspiration of people out there that want to write and that have started blogging and have started to really want to take their writes into the next stage, I'd love us to now go into really the topic of this. So the first one, 50 Ways to Find a Lover, was a blog that really stemmed from your true desire to meet a good lover, right? Or really an authentic relationship. Then you, like you said, move forward 5 years.
I don't know whether I was saying an authentic relationship. I just wanted a relationship at the time. I don't know whether it was that, whether I was that. I don't think, if I look back to that period, I didn't really know myself. And then I've since been on quite a big journey to get to know myself and get to like myself. I think I was still, that blog and that novel was really funny, but I think I was funny in that sense of, God, I'm so shit. Yeah. And you know, look at me and laugh at me, which, yeah, is a big part of me, I guess. But actually, I think what I've then learned is to really kind of get to know myself and like myself. And therefore the relationships that I then made and the sex that I then had was pretty amazing.
Beautiful, yeah.
But I wasn't really there for that previous, because we're talking 10 years ago now for that blog. Yeah. But I did start writing, going back to I'm just skipping around all over, but I did start writing that, because it does sound a bit weird that I just suddenly started writing about my love life.
Right.
But that was because I started doing The Artist's Way.
Right.
So The Artist's Way, if anyone that hasn't heard of it, it's an amazing book about being creative and finding your creative self. So if you feel that you'd quite like to write, but you don't know how, or, you know, you might want to do some art, but you don't know how, if you feel there's a creative person inside of you trying to get out, then I would get this book. So I started reading this book and doing the exercises in it. And then lo and behold, I started a blog about my love life. It was quite weird and wonderful.
Yeah, but what's lovely, I just wanted to stick with that theme. So if we jump
sorry, I've gone off.
No, you haven't. No, that's super beautiful. People need that backstory, so I love that, and people can go and, you know, of course, go and buy that book if they want to after. But my main real, let's say, intention of today is really to show that transition, because like you said, 10 years ago. But then if we scoot forward 5 years, you started writing another blog, right? And that blog was called
How to Start a Sexual Revolution.
Right. So that was called How to Start a Sexual Revolution. And of course, you spoke to me at that time, and we were both going through this time that at the time around sex, authentic sex, you know, a little exploration into sort of tantra and how to really, like, you know, there's got to be more to making love. And we was also both a little bit astounded by the lack of awareness for teenagers and young people coming into their sort of sex life, right? We used to always have lots of conversations about this. So just tell the people listening a little bit about what sparked that blog.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it was a few things, you know, how lots of things converge at once. Yeah, and one big thing was, you know, talking about young people. I've got 4 nieces who are obviously older now, but at the time I was really thinking about sex and porn, and I was using porn, and I remember I sort of had an epiphany watching porn one night, and I was just on one of the big free porn sites, as you do, because they're free. They're just, you know, it feels like that is online porn somehow. You go straight there. And I just that night saw an image of a girl. I'm going to say she was a girl because she looked very young, and the girl was having semen squirted in her face, and it was something about that. It wasn't that act that jarred me, but it was just the fact she looked so young. She looked like a girl, and And, you know, I'm quite sure she was. I'm quite sure she was an older woman who just looked young and they picked that thumbnail, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it took me out of my feelings of arousal maybe and about to have a wank. And I just sat there sort of thinking about this girl and just thinking about sex and just porn and the big free porn sites. And I just sort of, I was thinking about my nieces, and I don't know, it was weird. You know, you take all these really great feelings of arousal that you have, and then, you know, you take them to online porn, and I don't know, I just got me thinking that night. And I started typing a lot of things into Google, really. I was typing in things like good sex, great sex. I just started seeing where it would lead me. And it seemed that everything would keep leading you back to the big free porn sites. And I remember typing in the words beautiful sex. This is what really got me that night, is I typed in the words beautiful sex. And I got things like, there was like a list of thumbnails, and it was daddy loves to hate, fuck daughter, and or just like a list of stuff that was really, just really
Shocking.
got me. Yeah, I found it shocking, really. And, you know, there was one clip of a woman giving a blowjob. There was a man's head holding a man's hand holding her head down. And this advert, Shag a Slapper, just kept coming up. And I was like, wow, that's on the first page of Google if you type in the words beautiful sex. And I was thinking about my nieces, just, you know, thinking like, you're curious about your sexual awakening, you type these things in, this is what you get.
Right.
I was thinking, wow, this is what we've done to sex. You know, this is what, you know, we're creating, this is what we've created, you know. I'm part of it, I'm sat here using it, you know. So, but it really got me thinking. And yeah, and I suppose once you're really thinking about a subject, then it doesn't really, you know.
Yeah, well, you bring more of it into your reality, right? You start thinking about it. You're putting the energy out there, and you start getting messages back from that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was thinking about myself. I thought, well, there you go, Luce. You're hardly raising sex to some divine art form, are you? Sitting here, you know, wanking to porn. And so, yeah, I just sort of thought, actually, I use your expression. If you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. And I, you know, for me, I was like, well, I feel like I don't want to get what I've always got in the realms of sex. And I started thinking about it and thinking, you know, have I had the sort of sex I wanted to have? And actually, I didn't think I had. And I was single at the time, and I felt like I wanted to explore sex more, but I didn't want to do the single person sex that I'd done previously, which tended to be when I was so drunk, I didn't have a clue what was going on. I barely remembered it the next day. You know, it felt for me, actually, when I thought about it, that sex had been historically, and here was me in my 30s, sex had been something that had just happened to me. You know, I wasn't, you know, I was like an actor in the show. I wasn't directing it. I didn't take any, I was passive. I was really passive. Right. And I just thought, you know, how can I start shaping the sex I'm having, and what do I want, you know? So if I'm not having the sort of sex I want, what sort of sex do I want? Yeah. So I made a big list of things that I wanted to experience, and one of the big things was slower sex. I just felt that sex for me just seemed like it was always so quick, and I just like these speedy routines. And I thought, I know I really would like to break it down and really find out what I like, how I like to be touched, how I can touch somebody, how I can give someone pleasure. So yeah, I suppose for the first time I just started thinking, rather than sex being this thing that just randomly happens, can I somehow, you know, have some sort of mastery over it? So that was one. And then there was all sorts of other things. Like I realized that, you know, I'd often had attractions towards women, and actually women had been, you know, other women and being sexual with other women had been something that had been quite big in my fantasies, in the porn I watched, but I'd never really associated it, you know, except for some, again, very, very drunk incidences in my 20s, with actually making that happen. Right. So that was something I was like, yeah, I'd be really open to exploring that. And when I really got thinking, yeah, I wanted to explore some BDSM. You know, I'd read 50 Shades, and I hadn't really got on with that as a book for many reasons. But I thought, you know, sometimes I was drawn to kink in porn, and I definitely felt there was something there for me to discover. So I made a big list of things I wanted to explore, and I thought, well, I'm gonna here I am, I'm gonna try these things. So yeah, so now I've written. We're going to talk a bit about this book, but this book is about that journey of what happened when I tried to do
and in terms of like it beginning as the sort of sexual revolution, I know it's moved, but in essence, but in essence, no, I don't mean it's moved what you said. I mean, like the book is now moved. The book has become, let's say, your voice and your transparent experience of everything you just shared. And along the way, you did sort of start a revolution in your own right, in the sense of the no more page 3, really going out there and really becoming a voice for women around the whole of the UK and Europe. Actually, it spread sort of Europe wide, right? In terms of people wanting to like put, you know, to like stop, let's just say, stop the, what would you say? Stop, not, I guess to some extent abuse, but also this sort of negligence around women and men and the way that we see women. And I know you mentioned a few times, and some people don't like the word feminists and you know, feminism and all that jazz. But in essence, you did sort of find a groove in really standing up for women's rights and women, right?
Yeah, definitely. It was so funny because as I was doing all this discovery and I was writing the blog and obviously we were having conversations, I was going, oh my God, you know, I can't believe, you know, because I'm picking a lot of stuff. So for me, I'm exploring my sexuality and I'm going, but why do I hate my body? Oh God, yeah, of course I hate my boobs. Oh, I know I've hated them my whole life because I grew up with page 3 and I've always just hated them. And why am I putting myself down? And why can't I, a big one for me is why can't I speak? Why couldn't I ask what I wanted with men? I became very passive with men. And it was like, oh, well, of course, you know, we're presented as being very passive. You know, page 3 was a prime example of that.
And 1 minute, Lou, before you go on there, just let me just say one thing, because I have a lot of viewers in America and around. So let me just say one thing. Page 3 is a newspaper in the Sun newspaper in the UK. And you can get it in different parts of Europe because they travel it around and so on. And in there for many, many years, Lucy will tell you how many years, they would always put bare-breasted women. So it's in a newspaper, local newspaper, very, you know, generic newspaper.
It was like family newspaper. It was our most popular, like widespread newspaper. So it was everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Carry on.
Young woman. She used to be 16 and then she was 18. That was the minimum. Yeah. Just sort of semi-naked women on page 3. So yeah, I started a campaign to get those pictures sort of taken out the paper. Yeah, so I'm discovering all this and just going, oh my God, of course. And it felt like, for me, like all these pennies were dropping, but I hadn't realized that I sort of, you know, I just basically discovered feminism, which for a lot of people could be, you know, quite amazing and really empowering. And it took me a while to go, oh, feminism, oh, this is what I've been talking about. So even when I started the campaign, everyone was going, oh, it's a huge feminist debate. And I was like, oh, feminism, is it really? I hadn't really, you know, I hadn't really been schooled.
Well, but you went out there. It wasn't even about putting you in a box, was it? In essence, it was literally just, it wasn't about even saying you was on a feminist mission. You just had a mission to go, this isn't serving, if it didn't serve me, it's not serving other young women. And why is it still in the newspaper? It's like you literally, let's change the normative.
1970. Yeah, I just kept thinking it started in 1970 because in 1970 we were just like, you know, it was a male-managed media, it was a male-managed society. Women hadn't even had equal voting rights to men for that long at that time. So it was very easy in 1970 to just make the decision to show naked women in the paper. But I was like, well, come on, we've moved on a lot since then. Should we ask the question again whether that's right?
Exactly.
But so many people felt similarly, like people felt very passionately.
Yeah.
But for me, the big thing was just that I had to unpick a lot of that, and that was such a powerful kind of representation for me of what I'd grown up believing, that the most important thing about me as a woman was that I was desirable. So it was all about, was I desirable? And lo and behold, because, you know, you're comparing yourself to you know, this beauty ideal that women are held up to, you always fall short. So therefore you think you're ugly and you tell yourself you're ugly all the time and all this stuff. But also the page 3 thing was just this example of just a woman being passive, which I'll say again. And so for me, this whole journey was learning not to be passive and learning about what I wanted and how I could ask for it, and just what magic happened when I did. Yeah. So yeah.
I love that. Okay. That's beautiful. Thank you for like bringing that round. And I feel that was important for today's conversation. And I know it's a little soundbite today, and we could actually talk more on just the subjects of what you've just brought up, and we could create a whole conversation. And I know that there's a big conversation in the world around many of the topics you share. So let's lead into now. I just want to say this, we don't have to dwell on it too much, but being a writer and soon to be author myself, learning from you along the way, one of the things about becoming a published author is that, you know, you can get very much, as many people maybe watching this know, you can get quite restricted in what you want to say. You get a little bit coerced into maybe how you want to express your voice or the marketing or whatever. And Lucy called me up just the other week she had told me actually a little while ago, and I sort of forgot about it. And she said to me, "Hey, Si, you know, I've just had my baby. Congratulations." Well, I say just. How old's Rafi now?
Yeah, he's going to be 2 in August.
Yeah. So yeah, just for me, but for you, you're like, just, that's 2 years, man. Right? So
they grow.
Yeah. So Lucy had to put her, this is another beautiful thing to share for people watching, right? The creative process. We're all in a creative process. And like, I'm in a constant one. Somebody said to me, "What's your name?" the other day. I said, "Creative." They said, "What's your second name?" I said, "Process." That's it. That's my whole, but I feel that's my whole life, is just this constant creation, creating. And Lucy called me up and said, wow, she had to pretty much put her fifth book, and let's say more of Lucy's voice than ever before, on the back burner, because she had and brought a beautiful baby into the world with Robin, and the baby's called Rafi, right? So now we've got this other little creation. And then she was able, in the last year, to pick up this book and really reignite the flame. And she's actually going down something that I really am an advocate for, because I'm all about the gift economy. I'm all about, crowdfunding and using people power to really get a message out into the world. And I think that's what's really beautiful about what we're going to speak about now for the next 5 minutes or so. So Lucy's 5th book is very close to coming out. Lucy, tell me a little bit about this book, and then also the beautiful new way you've chosen to get it out into the world.
Okay, so I've written this book, which is nearly finished, called Don't Hold My Head Down, which is about this story that I've been saying, and a lot of the things I learned along the way. I think I really believe in this, in sharing this story. It's quite explicit, it's very frank, it's quite funny, it is a kind of one valiant idiot's journey into sort of self-empowerment through sex, and I really do play the idiot for you. But there's a lot about pleasure, like the amount of pleasure I found that I was capable of was really exciting. So there's a lot of kind of, really want to share the treasure on that one. But also I think for me, the whole journey, it was amazing. I just really would love to tell this story and share this story. I just feel that we don't really talk that frankly about sex and sexuality. We are doing a bit more than we have, but we've still got such a long way to go. We do have a lot of conversations about whether we should ban things or don't do it, or like some sort of innuendo, but actually talking about how it makes us feel, or even having inspiring conversations about sex, like, let's try this, or what about this? And, so I feel very passionately about this book, but like you said, so I've had novels published before, and I've been with traditional publishers, and I've been really lucky. So I don't want to knock it in any way, but I will say but with each title, with each sort of, book, I had to make compromises. Sometimes I had to make compromises on the topics I was writing about. I pretty much always had to make compromises on the titles. Some were actually titles chosen for me that I didn't want at all. I didn't feel represented the book at all. The covers, again, I've had covers that just for me don't feel like they represent the book at all. So, and for this book, I just didn't feel prepared a watered down book about female sexuality just seemed really pointless to me. And I didn't want to be in a position where I signed a contract and then was just left having to make compromises that I just didn't want to do. So, or get myself in a big thing where I would have to give back money and go with lawyers. So I just thought, no. And I always said, but I always said to myself, if I find a publisher who really gets this book, then I'll go with them. And funny enough, I was talking to somebody about the journey and blah, blah, blah. And he'd had a novel published with Unbound, who I'm with, and he just said Unbound. And I think there and then he texted a guy he knew who was one of the guys who set it up. He got back to me, we met, and he just got it. And he just seemed to think it sounded funny and necessary and exciting, like I did. So yeah, I definitely feel like this is the right place for the book. But it's a different journey to go on. So basically you write, so you send them chapters first, and they have to say, if they want to represent it on the site. And then you put up some sample content and a bit of blurb and a little video. And then you ask people if they would be prepared to pre-order a copy. And if enough people pre-order a copy, then this amazing publisher's Unbound then published your book. but they're linked with Penguin Random House. So really, once you get to 100%, your experience is going to be pretty much as it would be with one of the big publishers.
Great. So basically what they're doing in a nutshell is just cutting out that initial, commitment, and also inviting you, which is what we're doing today, in you to really welcome in people that are already engaged. And what's so beautiful, which we're going to share, the links will be below this video and they may pop up on the screen, is that you can just literally pre-order a book. This is what I love about it. Like, what I love about this is, like, trust me now, I'm not even trying to hard sell this to you all listening. Reading Lucy's stuff is worth reading regardless. And the beautiful thing about this is when we're talking about the evolving consciousness, which is what I'm all about, and the new ways of being and the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible, then of course we need the more beautiful sexual communication and connection that our hearts is possible, and we all have a role to play in that. So if you're buzzing by a little bit of this conversation, you want to know more, then just so you know, this is what today's talk is all about. It really is about. It's not a plea. It's more of an invitation to not only support an amazing woman and an amazing artist. That's me, by the way. I am an amazing woman, if you do say so myself, right? But not only just to support Lucy, but also to really let's make this work. Let's show that there's other ways of publishing and getting our voice out there. It's also a little message for that. Is it? And I'm just I'm mindful of your time, so I also want to say, is there anything that you want to add onto that, Lucy, what you just shared?
Yeah, just when you were saying about, this world that our hearts know is possible, and I just think for me, yeah, there is something really, big about this story, and this story for me, like, I was sort of off there looking for some good sex, really, and actually what I found was that sex was this exploring my sexuality just led me to get to know myself and like myself, which was amazing. And really, I suppose learning to love myself is a thing that everything else in a way hangs off, but it was just this journey about exploring my sexuality. I was healing, like so healing, so transformative, so spiritual. And I think that it's something for me is that, like, I went to a convent, we all kind of, we've grown up with this sex is sinful kind of thing. And yet actually what exploring my sexuality taught me, when I'm having like orgasms that would go on for days and felt like I was being connected with some kind of godlike force, it's like, it just felt anything but sinful. It felt as though everything wanted me to explore this and uncover it and write about it and talk about it. And actually that, we've grown up thinking with this God that, this sort of, like, I just think organised religion has, done some terrible things for us and this shame that is put upon sexuality. Right. But, so we've grown up with this sense that God is saying it's bad to have sex, but actually it felt, exploring my sexuality probably led me to think that, if there was a God, then he or she or they, actually had given me this, made me capable of so much pleasure and wanted me to enjoy it. It just sort of, I just felt,
it changed everything. And actually what you're talking about now, this is the real juice of the conversation, because let's just label this: we are gods and it's all God, right? And it's like, there's nothing that's created in this world that doesn't have a phenomenal service and purpose, right? There's nothing on this whole planet, I don't care what it is, even if there's been things that people are against. You have to look at, like, the mass suppression, shame and guilt we have around our genitals and around sexuality. I look out in the world, Lucy, and I see sexually deflated, depressed beings everywhere. When a being is understanding their sexuality and allowing that and exploring that, you see a different complete energy field in that person. You see a different way of their engagement with life and their respect and honoring with life. And I mean very much here what you're talking about, a wholeness and a very accepting around it. I don't just mean like somebody who's a stud and thinks by sleeping with like 100,000 women, all of a sudden, I'm a sexual god. No, there's power in that still connects to that force you're talking about. But I'm on about this real inclusive, allowing, soft, gentle dance to actually open, soften, and release that suppressed sexual energy, right?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. And just for the viewers, I'm 40 years old, whatever that means, and I'm just learning how to even make love now. I thought that I was a big lover, sleep with loads of women and go out there and, you know, I know a few moves here and there, and look at me, I've got a good physique. And oh my Lord, where I'm at the moment, the exploration of intimacy and sexual connection. And what I'm finding, Lucy, and you may touch on this in your book, and I know we don't have much time, we can do another conversation on this. I'm finding the deep resistance that is coming up in me to break old patterns of how I've been conditioned to make love and how I've habitually made love.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know if you touch on that in your book.
Patterns these old patterns run really deep.
Yeah.
But going back to what you said, I feel that, you know, I've been on this whole journey and I'm so excited. I've written a book about it, but I'm still right at the bottom of the mountain. I feel that this is like a lifelong journey of exploring. You know, I feel I've uncovered so much pleasure, but I just think there's going to be more and more. I really do. It's exciting. I love it. I love it.
Amazing. And I'm sure your partner, beautiful Robin, loves it too, right?
Yeah.
And also what I love is to have witnessed where you are now. To look at you today on this screen, it says, shame we can't be next to each other on the sofa, but that will be another time. To look at you and to see how you've matured and your receptivity and how you've evolved, and also, and people might go, oh, these two are just like, you know, loving each other so much. But I want to tell you this. I want to tell you, not only to people watching, I do love Lucy so much. And I tell you what I love about her as well is the transparency. You know, you will get transparency. I live for transparency, and I know how difficult it is in a world where transparency is not always welcomed. Yeah, it's judged, it's condemned, it's put down. And so I know that this book's going to be phenomenal. I know it's going to get published and made regardless. It's already done in the quantum field. But and we don't even need to even do this. But I love to be part of this stage of this next book. Yeah, so I support it fully, and I hope that the people watching today have got a little sample of you, your voice, us, and can go to the link now below the video. This is no hard sell. I'm not on no marketing funnel. I'm not trying to coerce you into anything, you beautiful people watching. This is about authentic, heart-to-heart sharings. This is there. You want to support an amazing book, and you want to see it come, and you get the book in, you know, you're going to go and buy a book from Amazon or wherever, decide to buy this book, and let's get this up to the 100%. Let's get Lucy published, and let's spread this beautiful message in the world. It's a co-creation. That's how I see it. How about that?
Yeah, what do I say now? Thank you.
You don't say anything. But listen, I want to just say thank you. And thank you for showing up. And I look forward to reading the book. You're welcome to say anything you want to say to the people viewing. If they, if there's anything else you want to say. Oh, I noticed actually on the Unbound website, actually, Lucy, that it's not just, people can get the book. It's a bit like a crowdfunding, but I noticed there's like an opportunity to do either a workshop, there was some.
Yeah, so we're going to do some workshops in London. So with up to 5 people and me, 5 women, which is just basically going to be a nice full afternoon of just talking about sex and just trying to liven things up. So if you're feeling that actually you want to blow a bit of energy into that area of your life, then come along, and it will be workshopy, chatty, really fun, but hopefully inspiring and uplifting.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, so I'd love that. I feel that quite a few people are asking me about that at the moment. And one thing that's a real privilege about working with, and talking about sex and sexuality is people, I feel there's a need. I feel like people want to talk about it and have discussions about it. And people are coming to me and really sharing some really beautiful things, and sharing some, shames and hurts and vulnerabilities. So yeah, I think I'd like to do more of that, of getting people together and just talking about it. I don't really know the answers, but I reckon together we can help each other, and together we can support each other on it. Yes,
and isn't that wonderful when we just show up to have the conversation? No expectations, no expectation of the outcome. Just like, look, here we are. Let's all have this conversation. So
and let's ask some questions, and I think it's about asking the right questions sometimes. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, thank you. I'm mindful to keep it at the time that we wanted to, around half an hour. We've done our half an hour. We could talk for hours long. One thing I want to say is I would love to maybe even a bit further down, we just have a conversation on sex. Yeah. You and I, anyway, we've said this before, and we can dance a bit deeper into some of the topics we've spoke about today.
Great.
Yeah?
I would love it.
Okay.
I would love it.
Wonderful. So I'm just going to say to everybody watching, as always, thank you so much. I know there's so much information out there in the world. I know there's many choices that we can go. And if you spent your time today listening to me and my beautiful friend, Lucy, then I want to honor your time, even though time's an illusion, but I want to honor your precious time, your energy, your participation, your ears, your presence, everything about you showing up here with us today. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. Go to the links below. As always, you can see there links to the other talks that I've recorded, a link to my Patreon page where you can support these videos by also gifting $1, $2, whatever you would like towards these conversations. And of course, more importantly, today, the link to the Unbounded website where we can go there, purchase the book of Lucy's. Let's get her published and let's spread this message in the world. Thank you so much. Mwah. Take care.